everybody. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia. Hello.
And I am Sam Healy. It's my favorite category, folks.
Well, here's the deal. We have been doing a lot this year, 2018. We've been doing a lot of repeats of older top 10s that we've been doing. This is not a repeat.
Reworkings, sir. Reworkings.
Repeats.
It's not a repeat, but you can't say this is like your least favorite category because you've already said that about party games and word games. Here's the deal.
I can have multiple not liking categories.
No, but absolute least favorite, you can have one.
It's one of my least favorite. How's that?
Okay.
But it's also a category I bet you play more often than you think.
I do, actually.
It's one of those games that's just like, I will. Oh.
That's why he hates it.
No, I don't hate it.
Now there's was this hard for you to make a top 10 for?
No, but I got 10, and then I got 11. And then I was like, yep. That's the 11 or 10 out of those 11.
I actually considered making a top 100.
What?
How's that possible?
That's because you guys don't play enough of these games. There are so many out there.
I'm missing what you meant, because
Yeah.
There's a category button on Board Game Geeks.
And I went through like 2,000 of those games, and I came up with 10.
I don't know. Okay.
Well,
surprise me.
So let me.
So for every one we do, you're going to do 2. You'll do your top 20.
No. I'm only doing 10. But let me ask you this: how many different categories of this do you think there are? Like, I'd say one category in this, a subcategory would be balance or stacking.
Yes.
Okay. One would be flicking.
Yes.
And knocking things over.
Yes.
What else is there?
There is.
I'm trying to think of, those are the two main things though, right? Flicking or shooting.
Flinging.
Okay, same.
Well, no, flicking is like here, it's like on a...
I meant shooting like a catapult or whatever it might be.
Oh, okay, well, if you're...
There's some that use other senses.
That's interesting.
Like your senses.
Tasting.
No, but some of the other ones.
You must lick this piece.
That would be weird.
To clarify, we're doing our top 10 action dexterity games. Now, one of the things that, we never really clarified this thing beforehand too well.
Of course.
What?
Why would we do something so efficient
This time we did determine that the game would be played on a table. So you're not going to see ping pong, air hockey, lawn darts.
Technically, air hockey and ping pong are played on a table.
Oof.
You actually shot these down in the conversation.
So no to ping pong is what you're telling me.
Right.
Table tennis.
Correct. No. So go ahead and mark that one off.
No, well, that's a whole other debate.
No, it's not really it's hard to call that a board game.
It's not. It's I mean,
all the ones that
ping pong a board game.
Right. It's a stretch.
I'm sorry.
All the ones that I have here are close to board games, I would say.
These are all board games, I would say, for me.
Well, one of them I'll ask you about when I get to it. If it's considered a board game because of the size of it.
I'll say no.
Mine are
on
all
your list.
Mine are all board games.
How do we know it's not on your list?
Oh, okay. If it's
Mine
on
are all
mine,
board
I'll say
games.
yes.
Easily.
All right. Let's take a look at what you're talking about.
I also picked only games that are currently in that games that have been released as of May 1st, 2018.
I did not do that.
Yeah, okay, now I know one of the games in your list.
Okay.
And I know what that game is.
Oh, okay.
That's very true.
All right, let's go on.
Number 10.
All right, my number 10 is a kid's game, which honestly, a good 70% of the games that could be on this list are.
The 70% of my games are.
No, this is one of the few on my list that I would call a kid's game.
Not quite all of them, but there's a solid, almost half, maybe half of my games I would say are kids' games.
Okay, well
Market it that way.
This one is actually only half dexterity, the other half is logic, and that's Dr. Eureka. Dr. Eureka, you got the 3 test tubes. There's 2 green balls, 2 orange balls, 2 purple balls. You flip a card over. You have to get the balls and the right things based on that card, but you can't let them fall on the table. So you're pouring them, trying to figure out the right way to pour them. It's like the water puzzle that's in the kids' movie, Die Hard 3.
Right. Christmas film.
The kids movie, Die
a
Hard
Christmas
3. No longer is it a Christmas film. It is now a kids film.
No one argues that was a Christmas film.
R-rated kids movie.
And then they leave the bomb sitting on the fountain. And he's like, "You gonna leave that there?"
So anyway, but it's kind of like that, but you're trying not to let anything spill. And so it actually works pretty well because the adults are usually better than the kids at the logic part, and kids are better than the adults at not dropping stuff all over the place. It's a lot of fun. Dr. Eureka from Blue Orange.
All right, my number 10 is a game that I guess some people have. I know that there was a huge to-do with rolling dice, taking names, and Secret Cabal on whether or not this game was actually a game.
Oh, so you only have 9 games on your list, is what you're saying.
I think this is a game. I think this is definitely a dexterity-ish, and it's very active, and that is a game called Strike. Now, this is a game, I know he hates this game, but I actually played this at MeepleCon, and I actually enjoyed it. And it is definitely a game where you are gingerly, or one might even say strategically, rolling dice.
I stood up on a table and threw it on.
Huh?
I stood up on a chair or on a table and threw them in.
Yeah.
No gingerness here.
Okay, well, I played it with Toby and Ambi, and they are definitely of the camp where you need to make sure you hold it in your hand correctly with the proper facing up so that it rolls what you want it to roll. And I'm telling you, they're good at this game. Dude won the tournament. I'm just saying.
Are you allowed? That's like that's like a person throwing dice on the table and trying to It almost sounds like you're trying to roll your dice a specific way.
That's exactly what you're supposed to do in this game. You're supposed to want to try to roll your dice a specific way so that you keep your dice and everybody else runs out. I like it. I think it's fun. It's definitely an action dexterity game in my opinion.
It's dice in a bowl. Dice in a bowl.
It is definitely dice in a bowl. There ain't much there. I'm not saying it's an awesome, heavy, deep game, but it's fun.
Well, I'm not saying that about any of the games on my list.
So that's my number 10, Strike.
I want to be clear. I don't think my games are snootier than yours.
All right, my number 10 is an awesome, heavy, deep game. Thematic, anyway. It is Flip Ships from Renegade Game Studios, and in it you are fighting off an alien invasion, and you do so by flipping your little discs, which represent your ships, onto the enemy ships, which are
it's
cards.
Like in the corner of the table, right?
Yeah, it's sitting on top of a pillar.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah, and you flip it.
I've never played this.
I think you're allowed to flip it off the edge of the table if you want to.
Okay.
There's different ways you can flip them.
Okay, I guess so. But
Okay.
It's a neat concept. It's my number 10 because again, it's my least favorite of these. I thought there were too many rules for how goofy the game ultimately is. I have a problem with that disconnect, right? Like, don't teach me that many rules when then it all comes down to me literally flipping a cardboard disc, right? But it's well done. It's well implemented. Artwork is very nice, and it's fun.
It feels with several of the games
feels
on my
video
list.
gamey. It feels video gamey to me, and that's neat. So that's my number 10, Flip Ships.
It's also one of the few cooperative dexterity games that exist.
That's true. That's true.
Number 9.
My number 9 is another game about chucking dice, and this one is less
thematic,
dexterous than number 10, and it definitely doesn't have a theme to it.
Less theme.
Yes.
Less theme and less dexterity than
Less calories.
Strike.
Correct.
And it has cowards?
Less calories.
Okay.
I'm not eating any of these games. I'm not worried
Hang on,
about
rice
calories.
cake.
Let me
The
kill
game.
that joke here.
It is called Tumbling Dice.
Oh,
So
no.
does that make
Tumbling
sense?
dice is way more complex and nuanced than Strike.
Okay. Whatevs.
How's it feel to be in this
Anyway.
spit pit over there?
That's right. You got that? No, there's a little bit right here. Yeah, you got that right there. A little bit right here too.
Gross. Okay, stop, you both of you.
Anyway, whereas you have to be somewhat careful on how you roll your dice in Strike, At least you probably should, from what I've seen. Tumbling dice, not so much. You pretty much just go dink and hope for the best. That's pretty much what it is. But it is fun. I mean, you're rolling dice down these little graduated steps, and each step gives you a different multiplier by which the face of the die that it lands on is multiplied by that. And whoever has the most points after you're done with your set of dice is the winner.
I bought a set. I have 18 colors, and I was like, "Oh, that's really cool." Until I realized I had to multiply 18 sets of dice. Man, I was like,
exactly.
You need a computer staring at the board doing the score for you.
As soon as it lands down, it reads the die, reads this, puts it up there. I need that program
Cloud
stat.
processing. That would be neat.
That would be cool.
I would just not use that many dice, but that's the easy way to go about it, I guess.
Too.
We play this at every single live marathon that we do. It's the last game that we play, and it's there's this like river of people walking around,
We've done it enough now though that psychologically, if I play that now, I'm like, I guess I'm done playing games for the day. It's time for bed.
That's true. That's true. But it's a really fun game, and it's like totally simple to play. There's like you were talking about having too many rules for a really goofy game. This is like the exact opposite of that.
Right.
There's like no rules, and it's really goofy game. But really enjoy it. My number 9, Tumbling Dice.
All right, my number 9 is one of those I was talking about, Tom. You know which one it is, which uses one of your other senses, not just touch. And it uses hearing. And it is...
Lice Tower?
No, that's a fake game I made up a long time ago. I thought you knew that. You guys knew that, right?
A hearing game?
Yes. In which you have to listen to cubes dropping down a tower.
Oh, you're right. When I was going through the list, I said Z's putting this on his list.
Oh, come on, cat.
Mord M. Rosa or something like
Mord
that.
M. Rosa.
Oh, okay.
And it is it has a crime theme in which you're a detective trying to figure out who done it. But
Great theming.
Yeah, it's thin. It is paper thin, folks. For the components are awesome though. The fact that it's this nesting tower, and then when you reverse the nesting, you build up a little tower of cardboard, squares, but you store them reversed.
Right, it's a really small game.
Yeah, they store reversed, and then when you take them all out and start stacking them, you go do 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 do, and they have a hole all the way through the center. And so you take the cubes and you drop them at the top, and you're supposed to be listening to try to figure out where you think it stopped, because it'll hit an edge and kind of bounce around. Sometimes it goes right through, and you can clearly hear that. It always makes for a good...
No, I always play on a table with that's not a hard surface, so it's not.
So you don't hear it?
Yeah.
I played with my mother once on a wooden table, and we had a ton of laughs because every time she would go, you could just hear her go. We were like, I wonder where that one is. It was funny, but you're trying to figure out where it is, and you call it out, you lift up the thing, and you look under it, and then you put it back where it goes. The rules are iffy, it's a very silly game. Mechanically, though, that idea is really cool. It looks great on the table. It's just a bizarre little creation, this game, and I've enjoyed playing it, So if you're looking for something pretty outside the box, Mord M. Rosa is a good pick for that. So that's my number 9.
I don't think that game was ever printed in English, though.
Maybe. There were copies floating
It
around.
has English rules, but there's no English name for it ever.
Right. That's right.
My number 9 I bought because of a quiz show we did one time. This was 2 years ago, actually, at the Gathering of Friends. We did a quiz show, and I did what are the top 10 selling games at Amazon right now. And this was like number 2, and I was like, I should buy it. So it's Doug and Melissa's, that's not necessarily in the name, Suspend. It comes in this long tube, but it's these metal bars with clips on them.
Right.
And you put this metal thing in the middle, and you put these bars on it, and then you're hanging them, and you're building like this sculpture that's just like swaying. There's a lot of these games out there that I like that kind of sway, and you're trying to keep them all balanced. This one it's just metal, but it really works well. It is possible to get everything on it, and then you take them off one at a time without the whole thing falling. I really like it, especially for the price point. It's a cheaper game, but it beat out a lot of games with more rules and complexity for my list. So Suspend.
There's a lot of those, yeah. Like Topple is a very well-known one with the plastic
Topple is,
pieces.
but Topple. There's the one from Zoc 2 where it's
Bamboleo. Yeah.
Bamboleo, but that one's too fragile. Half the time someone pulls a piece off and the whole thing falls.
And when you put on the pieces, they always tend to slide.
8.
My number 8 is the most expensive of all of these games because people like to get a nice version of it, and you can get custom-made ones.
Crokinole.
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 El crokinole. Yes, of course. I really enjoy this game, and I do like that it is kind of weird that it has kind of like a different perception. People see the game.
Oh my goodness, dude! It's like it's Crokinole.
Yes, it definitely has that air of maybe not snootiness, but neighboring to that. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's like okay.
Reverence.
I'm not gonna say serious, but
Reverence.
it's respectable.
Yeah.
Like if
okay,
you see these
fine.
guys over here and they're playing, the suspend game at this spin, like, oh, how cute, and then you come over here and people are playing Crokinole, you're like, oh, shh, these guys.
That's true.
Serious.
That's true. I enjoy the game. I think it's fun. It goes over well at a party. Has great table presence, especially again if you have a nice board.
Right.
It's a neat game. And this is probably the one that is closest to what we were talking about: table tennis, curling, all that stuff. It sits right on that line between being a board game and being a sport-like activity a little bit.
I do know that there is a board game about curling.
Yes, I think there might be several.
Yeah. Well, I know there's one at least.
Yeah. So anyway, you probably know this game already, Crokinole. I like it. I think it's a fun game. Whenever I get a chance to play it, anyway. That's my number 8.
That would probably make my top 20. I really like it too, although the quality of the board makes a big difference.
True.
Although I'm still nostalgia about the older version-ish of that, like Carrom.
Carrom, yeah.
Because that one is the cheap version that my parents could afford when I was a kid.
Carom.
Is it Carrom?
I think so.
I don't know, actually.
Has the nets in the corner and you're flicking discs
I think
around.
it's-
It's
I
like
think it's
Carom? Okay.
I don't even remember the rules, but I just know that there was like 30 different rule sets.
Oh, okay.
And there's all kinds of things.
30
Well, it's one of those
different
things where, and you can play checkers on the,
It's
one
like
of
a
that.
pool table. It's
I
kind
got
of
you.
like a
Yeah,
pool
yeah,
table,
I got
yeah.
you. Okay.
All right, my number 8 is our first crossover already.
Already?
It's with Z Garcia. And that is
Flip Ships?
Flip Ships. I really like Flip Ships. I like it slightly better than you, obviously.
Yeah.
I like the rules in it. I like that it's not just flicking things. I mean, essentially that is what it comes down to. Hey, look, I made a great shot. All the special powers in the world don't matter as much then.
Right.
But I like the theming of it, and the fact that it's cooperative really is enjoyable. Because, I don't know, for those of you watching, if you've ever been in a situation where you played a dexterity game and you're like, I'm not sure why I'm at the table. Because I'm the guy who, you have 2 points, everyone else has 1. Your turn to pull the brick out of Jenga, you're going to make it fall. Even if there's you're the first person in the whole tower.
Right.
There's always someone like your hands are shaking.
It's not your
But
kind
with
of thing.
Flip Ships, we're working together, so we're there going, you can do it. Now, of course, that could make things worse because you just made everyone lose.
Oh, wow.
But not really in this game because it's not so much any one shot. It's a cooperation of all the shots.
Right.
I don't know. I like it. I like the theme too. Like Z said, it's an arcade game. Space Invaders, the dexterity
It
game.
definitely feels like a video game, yeah.
All right, my number 8 is a game that I was actually just introduced to, and I'm hoping to get more plays of it in. This is one of those times.
Is the one that's not out? You said
Actually,
there's a game that's not released.
I don't know if this one's out yet or not.
Okay.
And this one it's called Manara.
Oh.
I think it's published.
It's out.
It's out. In fact, I just read the designer diary of this guy.
I did too.
He was like,
23 years.
holy moly.
Yeah.
And I thought, when I first played it, this is kind of inspired by Villa Paletti. It's the other way around.
That's weird.
Villa Paletti,
Wow.
the shapes, they already had a stacking game they were working on, but the shapes came from this designer's prototype.
Interesting. So that's kind of strange.
Villa Paletti is not on my list, by the way.
Yeah, nor on mine. But yeah.
Neither is
Manara,
mine.
okay,
Manara is mine. And I usually don't really enjoy these kinds of games where you're having to stack, because I'm one of those dudes we were just talking about where my hand can shake when something is on the line, and I get nervous
When there's a mouse in the room.
like type of stuff. No, not
sorry.
like that. But was that an elephant joke? That was an elephant joke.
It was not an elephant
was an
joke.
elephant
I
joke.
was going to make a whole list of things.
HR. No.
I was going to make a whole list of things. Sorry, a spider. Well, that's me.
Sure, yeah, that is you. Anyway, Manara is really cool because it has not just the stacking to it. There are other things. I mean, you're turning over a card, and there's 3 stacks of cards that you can turn over that tell you what you need to do. And there's variability within each one of those stacks of how difficult it's actually going to be and how many pieces you're going to have to stack up or what have you. So I like how there's some gaminess to the dexterity of it. It's not just stacking things up. There's other things that are involved in going on.
The biggest thing about it, like Tom was saying about flip ships, is the fact that it's
cooperative. Yeah, you're all working together.
Which when I first saw it, opened it up, I'm like, this looks like Villa Paletti. I like that. This looks prettier for sure. But then I find out it's co-op. I'm like, I can't see how, but this sounds great. Yeah.
I actually am not as enthused about the co-op nature of this one. I feel like, and this is no shade on the person who taught it to us at all.
Why are you throwing shade?
Alpha Gaming.
I feel like this one has alpha gaming because you can sit there and go, you really need to do that. And the person touches the piece, you're like, oh, that's the wrong piece to move. I feel like there's more of that in this game.
Sure.
Because I definitely felt it from some of the players.
Is that not me?
No, no, I'm just kidding. But no, from all the players though. From all the players, when it was my turn, wasn't Jason in that game too?
Well, there you go. There's your problem.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is, you get ready to move a piece. Someone's like, that is the wrong piece to move. You should move this piece. And in your head, you're like, oh, they're right. I'm moving this piece anyway.
But with your face, you say, shut up.
I just feel like this game, it's co-op, but it may have just well been solo. In this particular one.
I guess. That's every co-op.
Yeah, I agree, but I didn't feel like...
I don't think it's a problem with the game. I think it's a problem with the gamers.
Jason.
And again, it's not... Jeff, we enjoyed the game because
I felt bad because we called him an alpha game the whole time, but I would have done that no matter.
We absolutely enjoyed
whoever
the game.
was at the table. It could have been like a mousy person.
Yeah, I don't think that's a problem necessarily with the game. It's a problem with the gamer, and I understand that some games are more prone to have that problem. So I didn't really think about it. I actually like the fact that it's cooperative, like Z does, and I like cooperative games. I'm not very good with dexterity games, so the fact that it is cooperative makes it a little bit higher in my opinion. So that's my number 8, Manara.
Number 7.
My number 7 is a stacking game as well. This is an older game. This is the oldest game on my list. No, this is a mass market, big box, about that big, called Arch Rival.
Oh, it's in my top 20.
Arch Rival is a blast to play, man.
I never heard of this.
You've never seen it? No, it's great.
For a while, it was like in every thrift store that I ever went into.
Yeah, I bought it. No, I bought this at a game store.
In the thrift.
It's one of those games.
No, but it was like back in the day. Like everyone has it and they get rid of it, right?
Brothers game or something or whatever. But anyway, it's this game with a big balancing plastic seesaw, basically, about that big, and then it has a bunch of baskets with a slight angle on them, and you build them up with a keystone in the top.
Well, yeah, you have these two black
empty,
pieces.
Yeah, you have these things that you put in place to build them, and then you remove those things, and the whole, the arch holds itself up with the tension.
Barely.
And then, barely. And then you're rolling dice and putting pieces in the baskets.
Fluorescent
little plastic.
Clear, weirdly shaped plastic pieces.
Stuff. And then this thing starts to slowly shift, and a little tuck here, and a little... it is so tense. It's a great game. It's just a stacking game. If you get it all filled, which is possible...
I've done it.
You have to empty them.
I've never done.
And
Once
so
you start
if you see the end
out.
coming... You can be like, oh, we're going to be emptying them? Here's a little circle plastic thing. This fits on the bottom of a basket. I can sit this on the flat bottom of a basket.
Oh, I've never done that. You're
baby.
a jerk.
Oh, baby. It's a really fun game. It's just a silly stacking game. I still got my copy. I love it.
You know why it's not my top 10, though? I like it a lot, too. Because the setup for it is so hard.
Really?
It's like a skill. Because you put these plastic pieces and you put them in, and you can't just pull them out. You're supposed to. You put your hand like this and hand like this.
They go into the inside and out.
And you're supposed to twist them a little bit as you pull them out. That's what the instructions say. And once you get it, once you understand it, you can go, and you can do it. But the first 10 times, and they fall out, when you set it up like the 8th time, it can make a pastor curse pretty loudly. I'm just.
They should put that on the cover. Can make a pastor curse. Arch rival.
Loudly.
Loudly. That's my number 7, arch rival.
All right. My number 7 does not have near the
I'm out of cursing.
dedicated setup time nor cursing that Arch Rival may have, but it is fun nonetheless. And this is a game from Mayfair called Coconuts. Now, Coconuts is a game. Mayday, I'm sorry, yes. I'm sorry, Mayday. Coconuts is where you have a little monkey that is have his
I'll be
hands
the monkey here.
cupped like that. And so you have to take the coconuts and put it into your hand, and then you have to go, and it goes like that. and it throws the coconuts into a bunch of baskets. Yes,
no, that's a bad idea.
Here we go.
That's a really bad
Ready?
idea.
No, it's all right. There's nothing bad back there. Ready?
You're right, it was a bad idea.
That was a bad idea. Anyway, there are a bunch of baskets behind your monkey, and the monkey is trying to get his coconuts into those different sets of baskets. And the ones, of course, towards the center score more points and all this other kind of stuff. And it's really a kid's game, but it's very fun for adults as well. At least I found that, because there is no way that you can really master this game.
Right.
I mean, you can kind of get good at it, I guess, but you can't. Those kids will just simply go and just make the shot that you've been trying to make for the last 3 or 4 goes, and it's just a really fun game. A lot of great components as well. Looks great set up on the table, and it's just a lot of fun. So I've enjoyed it a lot, especially playing it with my family. That is my number 7. Coconuts by Mayday.
Originally from Korea, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's a good pick.
My number 7 is a game that I waited for expansions for, and they never came, but I still liked it. It's called Cube Quest. Cube Quest was a game where you set up this board, and you had these different cubes, which were different soldiers in your army, different types. And then you built them any way you wanted. You had one king, and then a bunch of other soldiers, and then on your turn, you pick one and flicked it at your opponents. And so your soldiers were actually your defensive structures and your soldiers. And whenever you got hit, if you landed and it was a wrong face down, they were dead. So some soldiers had a better chance of surviving. Some soldiers could warp in, but the whole thing was about shooting your enemy's king, so you might have all these cool strategies, and if you hit that king and you knock it out, you win. So I might build a wall with troops. I might build a really tall one so I could flick the top of it and shoot down at your guys. There was all kinds of weird things you could do with it, and it seemed like, wow, what a great open-ended system. They can add all kinds of cool stuff to this. And they never did. But even based on its own, it's a fun 2 or 4 player game. I liked it.
Number 6.
All right, my number 6 is actually like an upgraded version of an older game. Not really, I guess you'd say. It's just a new way to play it, maybe. But anyway, they came out with this game called Flick 'em Up. And that was fun. It was fun to, shoot stuff and...
That was for kids.
No, I'm not saying that.
True professionals.
That was just, it was a fun time. But then they came out with Flick 'em Up Dead of Winter.
Which everyone thought it was a joke at first.
Everyone did.
I really thought it was a joke.
Everybody thought it was a joke. Well, at least people I talked to. It turned out it wasn't. And they added something that was really neat. The Zombie Tower to the game, and that was something that I thought
the new
was
name of our show, by the way.
Yeah, the Zombie Tower. Right.
After we die, and we're like, my number 10 is brains.
1 hour of us just going.
Some people would
Someone
argue.
just wrote on the comments, isn't that what you do now?
All right. Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, Sam.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I nipped it at the bud.
But Flick 'em Up Dead of Winter is everything that Flick 'em Up was, with the added zombie apocalypse theme wrapped and saturated within it. You're still just trying to, shoot stuff and get certain objectives done throughout the course of the game. But at the end of the day, the Zombie Tower really adds something to it, because at some point in the game, you're going to remove the lid of that zombie tower or let it collapse down, and zombies are going to come tumbling out of that tower. And they could land like right in front of you. They could hit you and do damage. There's just a lot of really neat things that happen when that occurs. And that's just a really cool twist on Flick 'em Up for me. I liked the Western theme, but this one is really my favorite way to play Flick 'em Up. So that's Flick 'em Up, Dead of Winter, my number 6.
My number 6 is one of the first games I played with Z, I believe. And for some reason, I'm not sure why we were like, it was just you, me, and one of my kids playing this game, and that's Dungeon Fighter.
That's right.
I remember this game. Okay, so Dungeon Fighter is a really... This is the very epitome of way too many rules for what the game does, probably.
Yes.
I love Dungeon Fighter.
Not on my list.
For that reason?
Oh, at the very least for that reason.
Oh,
yes.
but I love the game. Essentially, the game is a dungeon crawl. You go through and find a monster, and to fight the monster, you have to throw dice onto this target board. And the closer you get to the middle of the target, the more points you score. It's just that as time goes by, it gets harder. You have to like throw dice behind your back and all kinds of stuff. Or as me and Z, again, I don't know why there's memories where you were holding my hands as I threw.
Tom was holding the die, and I had to grab his arm and go like, huh.
It was one of those moments I'll never forget.
It just got really awkward in here.
We're just trying to make you feel like it.
Only because you were between us.
But you have to like jump in the air, but you might find a better weapon that does double damage.
Right.
But you gotta close your eyes when you throw it. Stuff like that.
Goofy stuff. Stand back from the table, whatever.
They have 4 expansions for it: Wind, Air, Earth, and Fire. Each which, for some reason, one has a monster that looks like one of the Fantastic Four.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really. Like there's a fire boy, and then there's an invisible woman, and then there's a big creature. You know, I forget what they call him, but it's very obvious who it is.
Call him the Thang.
The Thang.
The Thang.
But I like it. It was originally from Horrible Games, who's made a lot of games that we like, really. And Yellow picked it up for a while and brought it to America, and it's gone. It's been one of those games that kids won't believe existed, I think.
Is it hard to get now? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's hard to get. It's probably inexpensive. But it's for a very eclectic group. And I fall in that group, but I realize that. Like, Dexterity, Mom, you want to play this game? Well, yeah, there's all this dungeon crawl stuff. Dungeon crawl people... Yeah, it is a little too
goofy,
silly for you.
For sure.
I mean, it's not just dexterity; it's goofy dexterity.
With a lot of rules and a dungeon theme. Yeah, I agree.
And really weird artwork. And I still put it on my list because I like it.
All right, my number 6 is a much simpler game, a kid's game, and also a game in which listening is a key element of the game. I've kept this game for many, many years, still own it. In it, you are shaking things and listening to them.
No, this made your list?
Yeah, I love this game. This is a game called Igloo Pop.
It's extremely thematic.
The best theme of any game on this or any list at the table. In it, you are giants who befriend Eskimos, and the kids are bored, you're bored, you decide to play a game with them.
You want fish sticks. This is literally the theme.
Is that what it
want
is?
fish sticks from these kids.
I thought they were Yetis.
Oh, no, they're kids.
No.
No, I think I thought the theme was you were a giant playing with the kids, and so you grab them and shake them inside their igloos.
Yes, because you want fish sticks.
Oh, okay.
It's
like it doesn't make any sense. You're shaking little plastic igloos, and there's children
in there.
Yeah. In fact, I went ahead and when I do it, I play an app that adds children's screams. No, I don't do that. I'm not a monster.
You just made that game get super dark.
Yes.
It's just a very silly but fun activity almost. It's real time. You grab them, you shake them, and then you put them on a card that has the number that you think represents how many little glass beads are in there.
Children,
glass kids. And once everybody's done doing this, you then check them. They have the number on the bottom of how many glass beads are in there, and then you score points, do it a few times. It's silly, it's goofy, looks great on the table, though, because the igloos are nice. They're nicely sculpted. And obviously, I can play with just about anybody, because you bring this thing on, and you tell people, you grab them and shake them, that not one hand at the table can help themselves. Everybody's like, ooh, everybody immediately starts guessing, right? You're like, it sounds like 6 or 7. Oh, 9. I was close. You can't help yourself. It's a fun activity.
Yeah, I remember this game. There was a couple in my church in Korea who I never got to play a game ever. And this was the one time they came to my house, and I was like, I wonder if this will work. And they loved it. And they never played another game after. But they played that game that one time.
It does it has that quality, I think, which is why I like it.
I just don't explain the theme. I'm like, we're shaking igloos. That's all you need to know.
That's a good idea. Anyway, that's my number 6.
Igloos, Mr. Basil?
Igloo Pop Murder.
Oh my goodness.
Number 5.
My number 5. My number 5 is barely a game.
Oh.
Wow, that was very.
Okay, good night, guys.
There
okay,
you go.
It's Beasts of Balance.
Beasts of
Beasts
This
of
game
Balance
has
is
technology in it.
Yeah.
I'm scared of technology.
Beasts of Balance is a game that's a stacking animal game, and it's mixed with the iPhone, iPad, whatever. And so you have this device, this Plink or Plinko or whatever, I don't know, whatever it's called. And it's like a little scale, and when you put each beast on it, it can read which one it is. You scan the beast beforehand, so it knows which beast you're supposed to put on, and then you put them on, and it can weigh them all to make sure the right ones are on it.
What?
Yeah, so anyhow, when you put the beast on it, they show up on the screen, they come in this world. And then, stop, I hate you. And then there's like these crossbreeds
got a lot bigger than that.
tokens where you can put on there. And then the two breeds will like produce a third one. So like if I put an eagle and then like a bear, then there'll be like a bear eagle or some weird thing on there. Okay, so while these guys are trying their best just to be trolls.
Is Dr. Moreau in this game?
No, but this game, it's a solo game, but what we do is we play one person at a time and see who gets the highest score. As you crossbreed them, as you can also put shapes on there that move them from one spot to another. You're trying to score points. You have shapes that you put on there, they power animals up. But all these shapes are really weird, and after a while they all fall off. And then they'll be like, you fell off, put everything back on in 3 seconds, which occasionally happens.
What?
Like there's a
That's
volcano,
thing?
it's like, your time is put the stuff back on, and you're like, ah!
Huh. Didn't know that rule. Okay.
Yeah, it's really, really fun. And it's fun for 2 reasons. One, because of the dexterity, but 2, you're trying to find these weird creature combinations. Like,
it's a
I mixed
video
the bear
game
with
with
an eagle,
dexterity, basically.
and now I got the bear eagle. I'm going to mix that with a bear. So now it's a bear eagle. You know what I mean? It's
Then
you
they
get
give
really
you-
weird
yeah,
stuff. And
A bear breagle.
anyway, we had a lot of fun with it. I just took it to a picnic the other day, and the kids wouldn't stop playing it because it has that tendency. But I'm sitting there going,
Beagle.
I think I could score more points if I use this shape here and here. Wow, those shapes are hard to put on this object. So it's a good mix. It's expensive. It's not a cheap game.
Yeah.
But the technology and the way it works together is just really flawless, I thought. So
Yeah, it's like borderline a toy, like you said, and kind of a video game. So it's a weird creation.
but it definitely is dexterity.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to. There's no way you can stack all that stuff on there.
Yeah. Cool. All right, my number 5 is a crossover with Mr. Vaso.
Wait. No. I don't know which one. Suspend?
No.
Well, you already said Dungeon Fighter. See, I was going to guess you were going to put that on your list.
No.
Dr. Eureka? Mm-hmm. Really? I didn't know you played this one.
Oh, sure, yeah. I've played it a lot, actually. I mean, not a lot. I don't have a copy, but I've played at several conventions that I've been at. I don't know why it ends up coming out, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's a fun game. It's a silly game, but the dexterity in it, while it is certainly a dexterity game, takes, I think, a backseat to the logic in the game. It's really a logic puzzle in real time that you are trying to solve, and the dexterity is just going to get in your way a little bit. That's what it's about, right? Pouring, like you said, the marbles from one to the other can get a little tricky. Sometimes you jam them, sometimes you spill 2, and then you got to sort of put one back in the old test tube. My favorite thing in it, and it rarely I'm able to pull this off, but you can do it, it's in the rules, is that you are allowed to, when you think you've got something done, but the marbles are reversed, you're allowed to, when you present your answer, take one of the test tubes and slam it on the table so that the marbles are reversed and you call it time. That one counts. If it's in the right position now, upside down. And I've seen a few people do it. They find a way to like sneak past everybody else by doing so. That's a cool move.
Well, also, though, because I think the game balances because you can start in different positions every turn.
Right.
At the very beginning, you're all at the same, But as time goes by, like, you keep losing, and then we turn to the next card, and you're like, why?
I'm almost there.
I'm almost done.
Right.
That's a nice balancing thing.
Yeah, it's just a fun game, and it's a great kids game. I disagree with you a little bit that the adults and the kids are going to be able to play at the same game evenly. I actually think the grown-ups would probably just win most of the time, because the dexterity in it is fine
I
motor.
think he called me dumb.
I think the dexterity in it is fine motor dexterity enough that the kids are still going to be a little too. They're going to have a little bit of a hard time keeping up with the grown-ups.
Or he's saying that your kids are really smart.
Oh, I will.
If your kids are beating you consistently, they must be very smart.
Yes.
Or the alternative
Yes,
is,
have
I guess,
some.
possible too. Number 5, Dr. Eureka.
All right, my number 5 is another dice rolling game, but it is a simultaneous dice rolling game. And usually I don't like simultaneous games because one person will get done, or the timer will run out, or won't run out, and you'll be done, and you'll just be waiting on everybody else.
Oh, I never have that happen.
And I don't like that at all because it just gets boring after a while. But Mystic Scrolls is not like that at all.
Wait, this is the one you just played the other night?
I did, and we
There was
played
a lot
it
of yelling.
multiple times.
Wait, was that a speed game?
Yeah. Yeah,
And
it
the
is.
you
one
played
that's-
with one of our faster players.
Yes,
This
yes.
is the one that's not
Played
out?
them with 2 of them, as a matter of fact.
You did.
Yeah, and it was a great time. We had a great fun
Well,
at this
that
game.
explains a lot. Because I
And,
saw Sam and I was like, oh no.
No,
This is
we're having
not
a
the
great
one that's
time.
not released, right?
No, I believe it is released.
Okay, so
Mystic Scrolls,
waiting on
basically,
that.
each of you are mages, and you're trying to scramble around to get the necessary requirements for your spells and potions and whatever, and all that other kind of stuff. But anyway, you start with 5 dice, and then the rest of the dice are put into a pool at the center of the table, and you start rolling your dice. And once you have the dice set that you need for a spell, you can place those dice on the spell, and then grab that same number of dice from the pool. Well, you keep doing this, and you try to fire off as many spells as possible, but when somebody needs to grab from the middle pool and they can't, they have to say stop. And then everybody has to stop, and then you go through where you can heal yourself and then cause damage to the other person. You always damage the person to your right.
Oh, that's
And
problematic for me.
well, it depends. Well, right now, don't worry, you'll be fine.
Don't touch me!
You should be used to it, actually.
But it's a really fun game, and it's just dice rolling, but it is simultaneous, so there is a lot of action going on at the same time. It does feel kind of solitaire-ish, except for that second phase where you're definitely dealing damage and healing and all that other kind of stuff. So it's the last person standing. There is player elimination, but we found that it doesn't really matter that much because games go so fast. So it's
Okay.
really fun time. I've really enjoyed it a lot. It has great dice that are etched dice, so it's really fun. Enjoyed it a lot. Mystic Scrolls, my number 5.
So, small quibble.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh,
I would have put this on a different list myself
What?
of speed games. There's a ton of those out there.
Yeah, but this is also an action game. A lot of action going on in the game.
Well, you could say about a lot of games, right?
would you like to sit to his right?
This is I told you this was going to happen.
He
though.
did say so.
I did say that.
I heard him.
Yeah, which is why he's doing it probably.
No, I'm just saying. All right. Anyway, that's why I didn't put this on my list. Also, I never played it.
Number 4.
All right, my number 4 has already been spoken, but I'm going to speak about it much more highly than the other person did. That would be Sam, because this game is amazing, and that is Tumbling Dice.
Oh, it's not
I
amazing.
love this game. Now, granted, my version is super juiced up with all kinds
Right.
of weird dice, but
And
anybody can do
you
that.
need a math professor to score at the end.
That's true, but man, I'll tell you what,
calculator.
this game just, you can put this game on the table and people will come up and mess with it. Actually, that's true for a lot of dexterity games,
I guess so, yes.
right?
They might even break the boards over their heads.
Inside jokes.
That's not an inside joke. They can go watch it.
Yeah, but they still have to go and find it if they want to know what we're talking
Go
about.
find it. The time when Sam broke a game, like, physically.
When I was told
Bend this
to
back
try to
until
bend
it
this
snaps.
board back into its shape, so I tried to do that.
And you technically did.
Well, happily, the new versions of Tumbling Dice do not have these warped boards anymore. It is a pricey game for sure, but it is one I just have a lot of fun with. It's one that goes to almost every major event. We take it on the cruise. I bring it to Dice Tower Con. It's just, like you said, every live marathon, and it's just always fun. So that is Tumbling Dice.
Yep.
Me?
Nope, Sam.
No, me. I'm sorry. All right, my number 4 is probably going to be mentioned by Mr. Vassell later on in this list, but it is a game called, it used to be called Carabande, but now it's called Pitch Car.
I saw Carabande at the sale the other day.
You did? Yeah.
There's a guy said about Carabande, and I was like, ooh, wait, that doesn't even work with my stuff.
Yeah, you already have like
But I still
10
thought about
times
it.
that much anyway. But anyway, Pitch Car is a racing game where each person has a little disc that represents their racing car, and you're trying to get around the racetrack by flicking your thing through all of these different turns and jumps and weird figure 80 thingies, and there's just a lot going on in the game, and it is a lot harder than one would think to correctly flick your disc down this thing, because if you fall off of the track, you gotta wait and for everybody else to go, and then you can turn yours over and put yours back on the track, and it's just...
You know, I'm going to buy the powder next time. I haven't done it for a long time.
Powder?
Yeah, there's a
the
special powder. They make it for
use
Carabande boards, actually.
For
Oh, and you actually put it on the
Crocodile
thing?
boards. Yeah, you put it on the board,
dust,
and then when you
okay.
flick it, then it doesn't just go a little bit; it goes.
You have to be really careful with it, actually.
Yeah.
It's just a little tap. It'll move quite a bit.
Yeah, but I mean, you can overestimate things and say, oh, boom, it's just like wow, and it goes like halfway across the room. So your next shot, you're like trying to be real ginger, and you're like, boom, and it goes, zing. And there's just that kind of thing that happens with the dexterity part of it, but it's a really fun racing game, and a lot of people have really enjoyed it over the course of the years. I have two. My number 4.
That's a good choice. I hadn't
Pitch
considered
car.
that one.
Just shut up. How many people do you
Right.
normally play with when you play these tournaments?
The number of cars I have,
Yeah.
which is like 25 to 30.
That's
It's like a
crazy.
Grand Prix.
Yeah. All right, that's me. My number, what, 4?
Yes.
My number 4 is also a kid's game, technically, though I've never seen children playing this game, and I've seen lots of adults playing it.
Is it this bear game?
No.
That game's coming. I know it is.
Shut up. It's Rhino Hero Super Battle.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I almost never see kids playing
I
this
have
game.
never seen a child playing this game. It's a big haba game, and I've seen tons of grown-ups playing it, which is great because it's fun.
Well, then maybe we shouldn't call it a kids game.
But I mean, it's designed
It's
to
definitely
be
what it's
one,
marketed
I think.
for.
Yeah. It's a great game for anybody, clearly. But Rhino Hero, the original one, got a ton of buzz. It's a cute game. Rhino Hero Super Battle, I think, is so much better than that. There's so much more activity. There's so much more to do. There is this idea of not just building up the floors of this structure and climbing your little character, but then if you land on someone else's floor, you have to roll a die and fight. If you lose, you have to take your character and move it down. All of this manipulation, of course, always making it possible that the whole thing collapses. And then you got the monkeys dangling off the side of the buildings and all that. It's a fun game. You can get some pretty crazy structures going in it, and it is definitely both, it has a lot of dexterity and a lot of action. It's a fun game.
Well, Barrel of Monkeys almost made my list.
Barrel of Monkeys. This is kind of like little Barrel of Monkeys-ish, yeah. So Rhino Hero Super Battle is my number 4.
Cool.
Number 3.
My number 3 is, I think it's called, well, I know what it's called, but people have called it Junk Art Light because it has a very similar idea of piling things up, but it's called Pile Up Rush. And it's a very small, compact kind of version, I mean, not officially, of course, but it's kind of a small version of Junk Art, where you have this idea of...
This is something you reviewed, right?
Yeah, and I had you help
showed me. You
showed me through it. But anyway, there's this timer, sand timer, and it has 2 marks on it, and you can't pass the timer until it has gotten down below one of those marks, but you have to pass it before it reaches the other one. And that is basically the amount of time you have to take one of your pieces and pile it on the center sconce or whatever it might be, dais, that is in the middle of the table. And you can play it with the flat part on top, or you can play it where it looks like an ashtray that has different cuts in it and all this other kind of stuff. But you're piling your pieces on top of this, and you have so much time to pile your thing on it, then you flip it over, and now it's your opponent's turn. Then they have to stack one of their pieces, and they flip it back over, and so forth and so on, until the thing collapses, or you have all of your pieces up there. You get so many points, I think, for how many pieces you get out onto the board. If you get all of them, you get a flat number or something to that effect. I can't remember all the minutia, but it's a really fun dexterity game, and I usually don't like these kinds of games, but this one is so compact, so quick, that I really do enjoy it. So that is Pile Up Rushi. Also,
wow, that's pretty high in your list.
Came over from Korea.
Number 3.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. It has just I guess a sweet spot to it that I really did enjoy.
I really hope your next one is junk art. That'd be hilarious.
No, it's not. It is one that's been mentioned, though, by Sam.
The monkey one?
What's the monkey one?
Coconuts?
No. That's not it. That one's a cute game, but no, it's not.
Minara.
It's Minara, yeah.
Oh, wow. You like Minara that much, huh?
Oh, I do. I like it clearly more than Sam, and I played a lot of it in our recent travels. I had it with me. I was showing it everywhere, playing 2 games in a row sometimes. We definitely had the most epic game of this at Snakes and Lattes Midtown location when we went over there.
Oh, okay. Someone
You had to go
show me a
up to 8
picture.
levels, didn't you?
We drew a few times, couldn't quite complete it, had to keep adding levels. We had to go up to 8 levels. That does not count the ground, 8 levels above that. And eventually, we figured out, if we're doing the math here right, that means we need to have a level. This was about level 4 or 5, which is only supported by 2 pillars. We have to do it. We have to push on, or we'll never make it to 8.
I did that in our game.
Yeah?
Just cause.
I do levels with
Yeah,
one
but we had
pyramid.
like 3 or 4 levels above that with multiple pillars on each. This thing was a beauty. But we won. That's the only strike against the game I have.
That you won.
It's very easy to win, it seems.
I don't.
Once again,
agree
I
with
feel like
that.
I'm being called stupid.
I don't agree
You
with
guys
that.
lost?
No, we didn't lose. We won, but
But we felt like it was skin of our teeth.
Yeah, it was definitely skin of our
Well,
teeth.
that's the beauty of it. You always feel that way. But I've never lost.
No, we could have lost.
Easily.
I mean, I'm
could've
sure I could
easily
lose
lost.
if I
Yeah,
sneeze it or
easily.
smack it.
Right.
Or,
No, it wasn't that. If we had drawn, no, we could have lost.
Yeah. Anyway, it's clearly is very well balanced because it always feels like it's by the
Well balanced.
skin of your teeth.
I
I don't
see
get
what
it.
you did
I don't
there.
get it. I really like the game. The fact that it's co-op is a cherry on top for me. Like Sam said, it's a good one. Minara, very attractive game as well. My number 3.
My number 3 has been half mentioned by Sam already. Except I don't need no zombie tower.
Oh, flick them up.
Just flick them up. Flick them up. I don't like the zombie theme. I mean, the zombie one's fine. I don't like the zombie theme as much. I love the Western theme. And especially with the expansions. There's the Native
horsey.
Americans shooting arrows, which are like just it's a stick on their shoulder and you flick it off.
Okay.
The horses helped out a lot.
I love
And
the
just-
shotgun in Dead of Winter.
I just like the whole.
Put 4 discs.
Although they added the shotgun. They added the shotgun to flick them up in one of the expansions
They
too.
did.
And I just like the duel. You know, 2 guys across the table. I flick at you, you flick at me. We both miss. We move a little bit closer.
That is fun.
No, it just
That is fun.
and then there's the giant version, which is even great. I mean, it hurts your fingers, but I really
You
like
need
it.
a massive surface to play that, I guess,
Yeah,
huh?
you do.
Huh.
You do, but it's worth it. I like giant versions of any dexterity game. I mean, like Jenga. Spoiler alert, is not on my list. Okay, but I don't really mean to mock Jenga. Jenga's a fine game, but we played that
Jenga's
giant
cool.
Jenga at our Dice Tower Con last year, and that was one of the most epic moments of the con. Remember the ladies stacked all the Jenga stuff on the top?
Oh, that's right.
That was
That's
a big
right.
deal, right? Bigger is better. We're still gonna do that flaming Jenga. Saw that on the internet where they were playing Jenga when it was on fire.
That sounds like
They were using gloves.
that's still not okay. It falls. It
Flame
burns me
retarding
alive.
gloves,
No,
I
yeah.
would hope.
Well, yes.
I'm not setting Jenga on fire and playing it.
Maybe they should have used gasoline-soaked gloves.
That's a good idea.
Let's move on.
We're done.
Number 2.
My number 2, what was that game I was going to put on my list, you said?
The bear one. I
The
forget what
bear
it's called.
game. It's called Strong Stuff.
Strong stuff.
That's the
This
English.
is definitely a kid's game.
This is definitely a
sure.
kid's game for sure. It's also hilarious.
You're like the only person I know who like loves it this much.
Well, my family loves it this much. People I've played with love it this much, unless they're lying to me. That's always possible. But it's a silly game. Yeah, it's just a stacking game. It's the fact that it's a stacking game in which it's a little bear, a little wooden bear with a little tray on his head, and you stack discs of varying sizes on top of him. That's easy. That's not a big deal. It's the fact that you then have to pick up the bear with everything he's got carried on his head and move him to a new spot. This gets epic. Like, you have a whole stack of discs on top of this guy. And of course, after a while, you start messing with each other. When it's your turn to add a disc, you're like, oh, you thought I was going to put this right on the center. This is basically off the stack. Good luck to you. The whole thing, you're supposed to move them around a circle, but as people start dropping out and losing their lives, the disc, the circle gets sections blocked off. So you have to go around it further to find an empty spot. It's ridiculous. It's a really funny, silly game. Yeah, it's tough.
I would not be good at it.
So, though it is certainly a kid's game, I think it can be a lot of fun with adults too. So that's my number 2, Strong Stuff.
My number 2 is the more serious version of my number 6, Dungeon Fighter, and that is Catacombs.
Catacombs.
I really like Catacombs. Now, Catacombs and Flick 'em Up, I kind of go back and forth. Flick 'em Up, I love the team versus team aspect. Catacomb is one versus all, although they did add a team versus team aspect with the Catacombs versus Castles.
Oh, okay.
Which is a very light, smaller game. But Catacombs, I just like it. It's weird how flicking can translate into a more serious game. There's another game that does this too, Ascending Empires, where they took a Space 4X game and made it in a flicking game, and it works somehow. This one, though, the Barbarian gets to shoot 4 times, and that simulates his rage. The Elf Archer has a little disc they shoot at things. It's just hard to explain it. It does the same thing that the Dungeon Fighter one does, but it does it in a more serious way. When you're done, you feel like you kind of went through a dungeon a little bit.
Right.
And I really like it a lot. It's Catacombs, and there's like a gazillion expansions. Newest one has wyverns that you can fly around on. So you flick that, and then your character comes on top of it. It's pretty neat.
It's strangely thematic, I'll give it that.
It's really thematic, right? And they come such a long way. That first version of Catacombs, you're like,
I remember that.
don't run away, don't run away, don't run away.
I remember
the box was bad, the art was bad, but they've really come around and made it look a lot better.
Yeah.
All right, my number 2 is a game that I believe won the Kinderspiel last year.
Still waiting on the one that's not released.
Yeah, it's coming.
Game is not really. Oh man.
Yeah.
Wait, was that a Kennerspiel last year? It's not the
so.
vampire one.
No. Maybe I have the wrong. It's the one that's for kids.
Well, no, there was a vampire one.
Kinderspiel.
Well, a lot of those Kinderspiel games are dexterity games. I consider a lot of them. There's the vampire one was a few years ago. There was the one where you push something and your eyes are closed and everyone else.
By Brain Games.
Oh, Ice Cool.
Ice Cool.
Oh, duh.
Yeah.
That was like,
He loves that game.
that's like my number 11. I was really close to being on mine.
This is a really fun game. The theme behind it is that you are in a high school. Get it? Ice Cool. High school.
Oh, I get it.
And you are penguins, students that are trying to cut class to go get a snack.
Like all good students should.
No.
Brain
Do it,
Games
kids.
is teaching us
But
some
in
bad
order
things.
to move around, you have to flick your bottom-heavy penguin around these different things. And whenever they go through a
favorite kind of
door,
penguin.
you can take... oh, no. You can take one of the fish from the doorway, and that's one of the things. The goal is to get all of your fish before somebody else does, going through each of the different archways or doorways. The problem is that one of the players is the hall monitor, and if they catch you, you're out. So that hall monitor is trying to run around and run into you, quite literally, before you get all of your fish from the doors.
Hey, hall monitors, don't be a snitch.
And you play 3 rounds, or
They get
I believe
stitches.
as many rounds as there are players, so that everybody has a chance to beat the hall monitor. And after that, whoever has the most points. Whenever you grab your fish, you also take a card, and those cards have points on them, 1 to 3, I think. But anyway, it's who cares about
The point thing is
getting
kind of
points.
like a who cares,
The points
right?
is who cares. The fun part is flicking your penguin around this high school made of ice, and you can flick it in such a way to make it hop over things, and you can curve it like this, and that's where the cool part
I'm pretty
of the
good
game
at
comes
jumping
in.
walls.
I suck at this
Yeah,
game.
I can jump walls well. Curling it, nope, can't do that. But my son does it without even trying. I mean, he's like, okay, my turn, bah! And it's like 3 doorways. I'm like, how in the world did you just do that? You were talking about earlier where the whole Dr. Eureka thing, you didn't think that kids and adults could hang with each other.
Right.
This one, absolutely, definitely. Because kids just have that uncanny ability to pull out that one shot that is perfect, that brings them right back up to the front. And it always happens in this game. So, I love this game, really fun. My number 2, Ice Cool.
You're probably looking forward to the sequel to that, where you're going to be able to connect them together and make like a track. It's like a race
Ice
then.
Cool 2.
It is Ice Cool too.
I haven't heard
cool.
about this one.
I
I haven't heard about a Back to Cool.
oh my
Got a little
goodness.
Rodney Dangerfield penguin.
Can't get
no respect
at all.
And finally, number 1.
Okay, fine.
We'll play Strike. All right, so
Okay,
go
whatever you
first.
hit. Oh no, I like that die roll.
17.
last,
You-
or-
You go first. I don't care.
No, I just hope I hit it this time.
Okay, go ahead.
Come on. 20, 20, 20, 20.
Oh, that was so close.
I'm at
You have to hit 'em or
7.
doesn't
I'm at
count.
7.
I
You're
have
at
to
4.
hit 1, right?
You have to hit 1.
Have to hit 1. I hit both of them.
Tom got 15, and I got 9. Sam got 8.
I'm gonna
Strike
go-
is way better with 20-sided dice. Just saying.
I'm going to go first because I think everyone knows what mine is. I don't know what either one of yours. We'll just go down the line.
You don't know what mine is?
You don't know what mine is?
Oh my goodness! How
Oh my
can you
goodness.
not
How
know
can
what
you
mine
not
is?
know what mine is?
Oh my goodness. Smack, I want to see what he does then.
No.
All right. Okay, my number 1 was already mentioned by Sam a long time ago.
A long time ago? No.
This is the one game I play at every single major
dude.
event I go
Yeah,
to, and that's
that's-
pitch car. Of course,
That
pitch
wasn't a
car.
long time ago. It was my number 4.
Oh, well, it felt like
felt like a long time ago. You gotta get
some people in the video were like, you could have done 10 top 10. Okay.
That's true.
Anyhow, I know there's that one guy, he's not watching anymore. Every list is like, this doesn't need to be an hour.
Yep. Doesn't
You're
need
right.
to be an hour. You're true.
But pitch
You're right.
car, this for me, my top 10 was pitch car, and number 2 is That Far Down.
Really?
It's my favorite dexterity game by a mile. I love it. Now, actually, another game for a while competed with it that I wrote down here, the bicycle and roadsters.
Yeah.
Remember that has the little weighted balls that you would flick, and you could curve them like the penguins. But you couldn't play 30 people on that.
Never
And
got
they
any
didn't made all
support
these
that game,
tracks, right?
I never played that one. I've heard good things. I never got to play.
It's pretty cool, but pitch car, and I've never had it go poorly, right? And you also see the same people come back every year to playing it over and over again. And it's a game that's fun because it's fun to play. It's fun because when someone makes that stupidly amazing shot, everyone cheers.
Yeah.
When someone is doing horrific, everyone is rooting for them to just make the jump. You know, and it's exciting because there's very little bad blood or anything. There's a few people I've played and I'm looking at them like, okay, you need to take this a little bit less seriously. But for the most part, people really have fun doing it. And this is the one that I said I wasn't sure it should be like a tabletop game because it's huge. Like to own Pitch Car is like owning more than a board game. I have a whole bin full of this stuff.
I guess so. It's a board game. I don't know. I don't have a problem with it being.
I know,
board game.
but you know what I mean. It's a big
either.
thing.
It pushes that.
It's a modular. I think of it the same way as I think of a dungeon crawl game with a board versus a dungeon crawl game with a modular board.
Okay. Well, either way,
You know?
if you've never
Or
played it, they also
grow
make
and
Pitch Car
be a big
Mini,
thing.
which is for people who want to have the fun of Pitch Car but less of it.
Which is which one?
Well, on
Pitch
a
Car Mini.
smaller scale.
Pitch Car Mini is.
On a smaller scale.
Doesn't
Yeah, but I
work
think
as
you
well,
lose something with the
unfortunately.
grandiose.
I agree. I agree. You lose something. Yeah.
All right,
You
you know what? I
lose
just
part of the
remember. I know what your number one is now. Sorry.
So.
I still don't know what yours is though. Go ahead. What is it?
My number one. Now, I want to preface this by
know what this is.
because I know I'm going to get a lot of hate because I'm going to be accused of falling to the hype train and all this other kind of stuff.
Well, no, I would have put it in my top 10 otherwise.
You would have?
I would have. That's on my list.
Otherwise?
If it was out,
It's right there.
Yeah, otherwise. Oh, okay. Well, anyway.
I'm going to give you
I don't
garbage
care.
if you don't mind.
It's on
Is that
Kickstarter
okay?
right
If
now.
I give you
Yeah,
some
it's
gar-
absolutely fine.
Okay,
It's on
go ahead.
I don't
Kickstarter
care.
for a couple
it's on
more days.
Kickstarter right now for a couple more days. It has blown the stacks off of Kickstarter as far
Blown
as
stacks, calderas. I'm thinking of volcanic activity.
Yes.
Fireball Island.
That is correct. Well done, sir. Your deductive skills are amazing. Fireball Island, The Curse of Volcar is my number one. And I want to say this. I never played the original game, so I have absolutely no nostalgia factor walking into this
I'm sorry.
at all.
I cannot look at you right now.
So,
I haven't played the original one either.
so it is
I'm
a
Cuban. I
great,
grew up playing with dirt.
fun game.
Oh,
and
now
I
you make me
was-
feel bad. I gotta come back.
came into this not having any experience with the game at all, and I really do love the game. This is a game that I know is going to go over so well with my family. And
Your son's gonna want to play that like every day, just so you know.
my goodness, he's going to want to play it absolutely all the time. I really enjoy this game, and it has nothing to do with the hype train that is rolling on it because I have no nostalgia in this at all.
True.
So that is my number one, Fireball Island, The Curse of Volcar.
That's also not Z's number one because he does
no,
not like the
no.
game as much
Oh,
as us.
I heard
This wouldn't-
story. I
this
heard
wouldn't make
tell.
my- this wouldn't make
of
my
why
top 20
This isn't.
It saddens me. Saddens me that you dislike fun so much.
No, it's cute.
All right, so yours. What kind of game is yours? Like, what category is it? The stacking or the flicking?
Stackery. There is stackery afoot.
Stackery of Foot has
Okay,
been
it's not
mentioned.
Villa Palade.
It has been mentioned.
Oh, it has been mentioned.
Not on my list.
It has to be on your list. Can't be on mine.
Tom doesn't like stackery.
It's on my list.
I think so.
Not that, because it's not Stackery.
Oh no,
Is it
you
that?
mentioned it. Is it junk art?
Yeah, I thought it was.
No,
you
no.
mentioned it.
Pile
Okay.
Brush is
Oh, you
mine.
mentioned junk art. I'm
We
sorry.
talked about
yes.
junk art.
Okay.
Yeah, you really
Junk
like
art.
junk art.
Yeah.
I do. It's there's a lot of fun in that box. All the pieces seem well curated, as we've mentioned. There's a bunch of different games you can play with the pieces in the box, right? You do that whole world tour where you play, you build a single thing from a common pool. You build your own structure. You stick other people with pieces to build on their structure. There's different ways to go about this. But at the end of the day, it's the fact that the pieces that are in the box just work well together. Or not, sometimes, but it's always fun to manipulate all this stuff, to find that spot where you go, ooh, I can put this right between these two things, and look at that. It's amazing. The first time I played this, I was taking pictures of the whole game as everybody was building funky looking stuff. I was like, oh, I'm going to get this from this angle, and oh, wow, you did that. I'm going to take a photo of that. It just looks great. It's fun, engaging, really, really enjoy it. This has that classic quality to me, which replaces a lot of the well-known old-school stacking games. I think junk art has that vibe to it.
Did those pieces? I've watched it being played. I've never actually played it, so I don't know. Are the pieces in junk art symmetrical? In other words, if it's like a rectangle, is it evenly?
Yes, they're all
it is?
symmetrical as far as I
Okay.
remember. I mean, yeah, at least from
Or
one
like
angle.
if it's like a sphere, does it have like a flat side on it or something like that? Because that's one of the
There's
things
one
that
sphere that has a flat
it does.
bottom
But that would
on
still
it,
be
right?
symmetrical, just symmetrical only
Yeah.
one direction.
Okay, well, I didn't. All of the ones. One of the reasons that I picked Pile Up Rushy is because the pieces in it are just off,
Right.
by a little bit. Like
Right.
there's a pyramid shape in there, but it's like
Not
leaning
quite
to
right.
one side. It's
Yeah.
not quite right, and that I love that because you really can't exactly predict how it's going to rest.
Okay.
I think it's also
Really
a good
like it.
analogy for life. I mean, everyone has a little bit of a problem with them, and yet they all fit together to make a wonderful thing.
Man,
He just got deep. Unnecessarily.
I would take a shoe off and throw it at you, but I'm not wearing pants.
Great. So anyway,
I have shoes though.
Okay.
so anyway,
No, I'm wearing pants.
that's our top 10 action Dexterity Games. Tell us what yours are in the comments. I really, no joking, I know I could do 100 of these. There's that many out there. There's kids ones, there's adult ones.
That's wild. No, I like these 10, maybe a couple more. And then I'm good with this category. Not to say I don't like these games a lot. And like I said, I own many of these, most of them.
Well, they're one of the easiest games to play because most of them are usually like, hey, you want to come play this? It takes 10 minutes.
That's true.
Until you knock it over.
Yeah.
I mean, like, and again, the most popular game in the genre easily is Jenga.
Yeah,
right?
by far.
And yet, as much garbage as we give Jenga, I've played it. That shows up.
Jenga's good.
You guys played that Jenga Pass the other day.
Yeah, that was neat.
There was a Jenga.
That was neat. Yeah.
I told you about that earthquake Jenga, where the ground shakes every once in a while.
Wow.
So you can't sit there and go, because eventually it will just fall over.
No, that's neat. That's neat. I like what they've done with that. Jenga's not bad.
Yeah, I might do a video with the other 90 at some point. Videos probably. We'll see.
90.
There's probably no desire for such a thing.
That's insane. Very cool.
Every once in a while you pop and you're like, well, maybe we should play that. No, that's way too. I don't have them all. No. Do you have the bridge game though?
Arch Rival?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do that at a live thing someday.
Sure, I have it.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, until next time, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia. Thanks, everybody.
Sam Healy. We'll see you guys on the flip side.